from getting into the creek. Because what they did was basically illegal. You cannot pollute a stream like that with heavy equipment without a permit from the DEC. And you have to take precautions. So I don't know how we get to them the next time they decide they want to do improvements on their property. Well, you know, all that stuff went to the lake.
Yeah.
And that stuff is part of the problem that we're having harmful algal blooms, because that's that kind of sediment off that farm is legacy phosphorus that's now being released into the lake with a lot of particles for the phosphorus to hang on to. So it gets to the lake and it drives the algal blooms. I mean, I was really pissed off when I saw that. I could not find the source, but I strongly suspected something was happening up there because I could see all the heavy equipment. I'm just not allowed on the property to go look to see where this was going on. Because they were digging like crazy and putting in drainage tile, which is also another problem. Farmers put in drainage tiles and they take the drainage effluent, then goes into the closest receiving waters, which could be local streams. And then those rush off to the lake. But he wants to be able to grow more hay.
Does he actually make money selling hay? He must.
He must cover his costs because they got a lot of hay off that land this year, and Ken was bragging about the fact that they got such a good hay crop. So I think they obviously sell it. And
he seems really intent on keeping it agricultural.
Right.
At least some element of it as a farm. He doesn't want, it's a tax issue, isn't it? If he's farming it, he doesn't have to pay.
Yeah, he gets a tax exemption of some sort for agricultural lands.
He's not in an ag district, however, because we have no ag districts in the village, as far as I remember. And that land is not in an ag district.
It might be grandfathered in.
But maybe he gets some kind of a, it may be grandfathered in that it's been farmed. I don't think that, you know, Doc Fisher didn't farm it. He kept it open as a grass airstrip because he flew.
Yeah.
He used it for airplanes. We used it when we sprayed the gypsy moths back in the early 80s.
Oh, really? Huh.
We brought the crop duster in on his land and used it to spray all up and down East Shore Drive and the other properties that were getting treated. Anyway, it's what he does there is interesting, and at least it isn't housing, not yet.
Yeah, he talked when Ronnie and I were talking to him, he explained he'd like to have some kind of resident farm co-op community type thing centered around that big barn he's built.
Yeah, I mean, he talked about, this is what, if you were in Australia, you would call them farmettes. Farmettes, you know. Simon's not here to explain, but it's like we would have ranchettes. This is for, you know, gentlewomen farmers who maybe want 10 to 15 acres and can have horses, but that's going to be about the extent of it. I doubt very much you're going to see any kind of an organic CSA farm up there. And my guess is, you know, it would be subdivided into big properties with trophy homes and maybe some agricultural activity, but that remains to be seen. I just hope I'm not here when that happens.
Would that maintain the tax exemption if they had?
No, I doubt it.
Acre horse ranches for people? I
doubt it. I mean, what do people who raise horses, is that farming? That's
a good question.
And they're not, you know, they're raising horses to ride them. They're not selling them at market unless you have a horse breeding farm. And that was proposed. The history of Sundowns is quite checkered, so that after Doc Fisher died and the land passed to, oh God, what was his name? Now I can't remember the name of the guy who proposed the Sundowns development. What he first wanted to do was to put in a horse farm, and the village turned him down. The village, I wasn't involved then. I had just moved to the village, but the village denied the permit to have a horse farm there. I don't know what that was based on, but it wasn't in our zoning. So he decided he'd subdivide it instead. And he had this huge plan, you know, for 600 units plus an 18-hole golf course and you name it, you know, a gated community. And that's when the village went ballistic and we drove them out. We said, no, we don't want this. So, and then Horowitz bought it because the guy went into bankruptcy. The land went into bankruptcy was his name, or Hoff or Hoffman. And the land went to a bank, and Ken Horowitz, I believe, bought it like pennies on the dollar. And it's been in his ownership ever since. And actually, he's done a fantastic job of taking care of one of the best pieces of open space anywhere around here. We're really kind of lucky, you know, that he's maintained it the way he has, but we will not always get to have that as a beautiful vista. You know, someday that land is just going to be too darn valuable, and we'll have to get developed. Hey, Jerry.
Hi, Jerry.
We're talking about Sundowns.
I've failed to start the recording, so I just want to recap the topics we covered before I turned it on. The Future Park Survey, we have about, as of today, we had about 28 responses. By the time we have our next meeting, I will stop the survey, collect the reports, and from the survey, and then distribute that to the members so we can discuss it at our next meeting. The draft Greenway plan, we need to just continue to read. We still want to wait for the tree law to be finalized and approved so that we can mention it as an existing law within that document. I think that will probably happen sometime in this fall. And then we were talking about the natural resources inventory that the CSE task force will be working with the Cornell Cooperative Extension. The CCE people will put together that document in the future. And once it's put together, the CSE task force will review it. But I would also like to have the Greenway committee members review it from their perspectives before we finalize that and present it to the trustees for approval. So that will happen. It's not anytime soon, but it will be coming down the road. I have an example document from the town of Caroline that I will send out to the Greenway committee members so that you can be looking at it, just kind of get an idea of what ours will look like. It'll be something very similar, but with different information for just the village. And then we just and that was the last topic before we got off on sundown. Ken Horowitz properties. The other topic, the last topic I have for today is for future Zoom meetings. Jody and I have been doing some research on how we could continue Zoom meetings, primarily because of the prevalence of the Delta variant and COVID-19 and its resurgence within the county and so forth. We can, since 2000, members of elected officers, public officers, and appointed members of boards and committees and so forth can attend remotely. But in order to do that, they have to attend by video conference, be visible on the screen for the meeting. And we also have to publish the address from which they will be attending remotely. The public law says that any resident or any person can attend the meeting at any of the addresses where someone is attending. The village office is the primary location, but all of the Zoom meeting attendees would be secondary locations, and we would need to publish the address of where that person would be. I don't suspect anyone would come to private homes, but they have a right to. So if we're going to be doing a hybrid meeting, I plan to at least have one person in the village office for our meetings. And hopefully it will be with a working computer so that the public could attend here. And if you want to attend and vote in our meetings, then you have to provide me your address from where you'll be viewing.
Oh, so if I'm in Cancun.
Still, you have to give me the address.
Hey, Ronnie, can I ask a question related to this? Which is that this whole thing that in order to be a voting member of the committee, you have to submit all of this like I've had all of that training with the anti-sexual harassment and the other workplace violence. I've had all of that through Ithaca City School District. But
Right.
it's just so dense for me to even try to parse it. I just can't even. So that's why I'm not even a voting member of the committee, even though I'm an enthusiastic supporter.
That's your choice. This committee is set up that way.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
you-
I would
you're-
have to.
you're
Yeah, I go ahead and just either redo the training if I want
to vote. Yeah, you would have to, yeah, if you're appointed to any of our boards or committees as a voting member,
Okay.
you have to go through that training.
I've
In
been
your
through the
case,
training.
you would just be a liaison for your community. You're not voting. You're giving us your feedback, your perspective, but you're not voting. These laws, these regulations, and the training, the required training are not applied to you
Mhm.
or anyone else who's just the liaison.
Well, so far it's working for me. So thank you for
Yeah,
inviting
and this
me.
is fine. We originally set the committee up this way, and so that's not a problem, Jerry.
Good.
But for our next meeting, before our next meeting, we have to publish the locations, all of the locations within 72 hours.
Mhm.
72 hours before the meeting.
Mhm.
So I will send out our agenda. I will ask if you're going to attend remotely, please send me your address. Otherwise, you can participate, but you cannot vote. And when you're in the meeting, you must, and you are voting,
Mhm.
and you're a voting member, you must be live. You can't put up just your name or just an avatar or something screen. It has to be alive so people can see your lips moving and your eyes rolling and so forth.
Any hand gestures we may make?
Hand gestures, but they have to be child appropriate. So just be careful, because the other thing that the law requires is that we make our meetings recordings. Meetings have to be recorded and they be made available to the public. So Jody and I are working out a system for making them available.
Thank you for all your work. We really appreciate it. This is amazing that you're taking over during all of this craziness. It's pretty cool.
It's just a transition time.
Yeah.
Well, you're doing fine, Ronnie. Hats off to you.
Yes.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, really.
Thanks. I appreciate it. So I really don't have anything else for today's meeting. I think I'm going to stick around here and try to resolve my issue with the Wi-Fi. See if I can drill down and find out what's wrong with my computer. But unless there's another topic that one of you want to bring up.
I have something that I was hoping to share, which is that back in 2017, I made an attempt at doing something I called the Global Village Park Project.
Yeah,
Oh, right.
yeah,
Middle
I remember
school.
that. Mhm.
And, I learned a lot from doing it, and I'm still in touch with the same people in Ithaca City School District and DeWitt Middle School. And the fact that the park got renamed because of that project
Yeah, pretty much.
leads us to maybe possibly wanting it to be kind of a centerpiece of their after school art club project. And we have a proposal that we will be putting together, hopefully to do another kind of an applique on the surface of the fence, but we're going to do something much different. We're going to do it with using the actual fencing wire
Yeah.
and actually
Weaving
create
stuff
a cool,
to
just maybe some cool design work.
Okay.
there. I'll keep you in touch, but I really, it's exciting that the Dwight Middle School people actually contacted me to ask if I wanted to help run the art club. So,
No, good.
and Global Village Park would be such a cool project.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a great, already gotten it started. So
Yeah.
And it literally costs nothing. It's just one of these wonderful things. So as it develops, I will let you know what's going on.
that's
Yeah,
great.
Yeah, just let the trustees know so we can
I sure will.
say, give you an approval so to go out and do that. And
Yeah,
just be
you know,
just
We're 12 months from anything even nothing would be even done right now. We're just
okay. Yeah,
all
just
just
keep us
doing
I don't
informed.
want John's people going in there and tearing it all out as vandalism.
but I can't be able to tell DeWitt Middle School that the Greenway committee of the village is like thumbs up, go ahead, we'd love to see more. That's awesome. So,
Okay, that's good. Sounds good, Jerry.
all right, thank you.
So if there's nothing else, no other topics, we will adjourn for today, and I will get the information out to you before our next meeting. I will send this example natural resources inventory document out today or tomorrow, and just look it over and kind of get a feel for it. Just kind of scope it out. And then once we start the document, I'll let you know and get the Greenway people, Greenway committee members involved in the review at some point. So I just wanted to give you a heads up. So if there's nothing else, I will see everyone at our next meeting.
I have a quick question for you, Ronnie. It doesn't
Okay,
impact
Lynn.
everybody else, but I just got a notice from Jody that there's going to be a special board meeting on the 30th, and this is about the mall, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So
We're
pinning
the
down Graham Road and some of the other issues.
right.
with
The
different-
planning board has asked that the Board of Trustees approve a couple of sections that are within the document that it's called the ECCR document for the future tenants or owners of the subdivisions within the mall. And this is to give us easements for the areas around the mall that the village wants to maintain and manage.
Stormwater and roads.
So we'll be talking about that at Monday night's meeting. You're welcome.
Okay.
It will be a public meeting. It will be a physical meeting here in the hall. I don't think we're going to Zoom this one from what
Yeah, I
my
will not
discussion
be
with
there.
Jody.
I won't be able to be there because I have
Thanks for that information. That's really
Sure.
interesting. I'll try to come.
Fester, so, but I'm just
Okay.
curious,
Yeah.
and you'll probably miss the first meeting in September because of Rosh Hashanah. I'm thinking.
Labor
or it's
Day.
Because it's Labor Day.
Yeah.
And
Yes, we will.
Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are maybe not on Mondays this year. I don't have my calendar in front of me, but anyway, there always was that thing about missing at least one or two board meetings in September
Right.
because of holidays. So anyway,
Yeah.
okay, I had no other
Okay.
questions.
Okay.
Thanks,
Everyone-
Ronnie.
Everyone have a good day.
If you
You
find
too.
out anything from Ken Horowitz about visiting his barn, let us know.
I'd love to see it. I mean, he was really bragging about it and showed us all those pictures on his phone.
Yeah.
So maybe we could actually have a tour.
I'll get information from him and see how many people he will allow on his land to go and
Yeah.
visit it, just to kind
Yeah,
of get a
I
feel
would
for
love
that barn.
It, I've never really been on his land except back when Doc Fisher still owned it.
John
Okay.
Dennis is, until, I don't know if he still does, but until a few months ago, he walked all over it all the time with his dog.
Yeah, and apparently they gave him permission to do that. He's like the only person who gets to walk on
He
Sundowns.
saw a bobcat back there.
Yeah, there is a
That doesn't
bobcat.
surprise me.
It was on my driveway last winter.
So in my perfect world, Tompkins County and New York State and the village of Lansing would all go partners on that as a huge open space comparable to a Cass Park, or
Mhm.
let's just make that happen.
We just got to get the money. I mean, now we've got to save the Bell Station.
Well, but
because
New York State, and if you've got New York State and Tompkins County on board as partners in it, if it became a county park or a New York State park, I think we could do, I think that could be
County
done.
has no parks whatsoever, which is
It's-
kind of odd because most other counties have parks, but
It's a
not. Tompkins.
beautiful park.
It would be
Let's
great
do
if you could buy it and keep
Mm.
it as open space.
Mhm. Is it worth about $8
and
million?
not turn it into 6 little
Mm.
fancy wancy horse farms.
Mhm.
We got enough of those already.
Mm.
Okay, I'm leaving.
Good night.
Nice to see
Okay.
you all.
Fine, thanks.
Bye.
Good seeing you
Ronnie.
too. Bye-bye.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye.